This video is brought to you by Grandeur Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
Tommy, why is your, new to you, Disco One on a trailer? What's going on, dude?
Well, because as is the case with every old Land Rover, it is very, very broken. So we bought this thing, Dad, at the auction, and we thought it was good to go. And then it turned out it needs a little bit of everything.
I mean, the body is in great shape. The wheels are great.
The interior is nice.
The interior is nice, but what's not nice?
Well, what I quickly learned is that, as is the case with a lot of these old Land Rovers, the head gaskets are shot. So I was driving it home from buying from the auction, all was well, and the temperature was just going all over the place. And then I came home and it was out of coolant. Did some more tests, saw a lot of vapor come out the tailpipe, and I've pretty much determined that this thing needs head gaskets. It also needs an oil pump, but that's not something that we can do.
Well, we can do it, but we're just not good at it. So we're going to do a road trip to Omaha. Omaha, of all places.
That's right. We're meeting up with my buddy Joe from Lost Cause Ranch, who does nothing but old Land Rovers. Now, he's not actually based in Omaha at all. He's based in Dubuque, Iowa, which is many hours from Omaha, but he's been kind enough to meet us out in Nebraska to pick up my old Discovery, and he's going to work his magic on it.
Now, if you guys are thinking, why is this video on our truck channel? The reason is because this is really not about the Disco One. It's more about this brand new GMC, which is one of the trucks that we've been testing for TFL's Truck of the Year. But Andre suggested that if we're going all the way to Omaha, we should tow with it because this truck has something that is unique among all the half tons.
So this is the GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate, and this has got Super Cruise, which now will work while towing apparently. So we're going to give it a try and see if we can super tow all the way to Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be too eager to actually do autonomous towing, Tommy, but you know, technology keeps marching forward and we are in the business of testing vehicles, so that's what we'll be doing. Now let's talk about the capability of this, because under the hood, this has a big old 6.2.
Yeah, so this is available in a couple different engines, but this is the largest V8 available in the half-ton segment. I think I'm correct in saying that. Of course, you can get the 5.3 in this here, but this is that 6.2-liter V8 mated to the 10-speed automatic. And we do, I think, I didn't even check, we've got four-wheel drive in this truck, right?
Yeah, we have four-wheel drive. It's a Denali, dude. We got everything.
It doesn't have the little, oh yeah, we're good. We got four-wheel drive.
Yeah, we got four-wheel drive. And then in terms of capability, we hooked up the Luma because, well, it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit less weight, and combined, what do you think, about 7K, 8K, something like that?
Yeah, maybe a little less. These Lumas are really lightweight and easy to tow, and the Land Rover's not that heavy, so probably somewhere between 6,500 and 7,000.
Now, the best thing about this Denali is the engine note. Should I start it up so that people can hear what it sounds like?
Yeah, here's the key.
Yeah, it actually sounds like it almost has an aftermarket exhaust on it. I was shocked at how good this thing sounds from the factory, because this is a stock truck. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Pretty raspy, huh?
Yeah, pretty cool.
But that does come at a price. I've got the Maroni, an MSRP, Tommy, right there of $87,405, 16 MPG combined, which is going to be a lot less when we're towing.
Yeah. Well, let's load up, Dad. Let's hit the road, and we'll give you our first impressions.
All right, Tommy, I couldn't think of more ideal conditions to try out Super Cruise while towing than I-76 in eastern Colorado. I mean, this is a wide open highway, not a lot of traffic, and I'm a little sketched out about this because towing is, you know, something that I take very seriously. I'm not sure I'd want to try it, like, say, on the New Jersey Turnpike where there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
But out here, this seems like a great place. All right, so I've got the cruise set to 75, which is the speed limit. I'm going to turn it on, and I am going to hit the little steering wheel button here. It's turned blue. I got blue, and it's turned green, which means I am super cruising.
Nice.
Look at this. No hands, no feet.
Yeah.
And let's see if it does lane changes, because I've got a Safeway truck in front of me, and we are going a little quicker than the Safeway truck, so I'll signal and see if it actually does auto lane change. Unable to auto lane change, it says.
Huh.
So maybe it doesn't do automatic lane changes when you're towing.
Or maybe some conditions aren't met. We'll have to play with that a little bit on this trip.
Well, let's see if we can get back. So I just did that.
So normal Super Cruise does automatic lane changes when you're not towing.
Yeah. Right now we're back super cruising again, and I'll
You're
try.
speeding there.
God, missed it by 1 mpg. I mean 1 mph. Probably missed it by a lot of mpgs. I'm still speeding. Slow down, I say. There we go. All right, I'll try the lane change going back. Maybe there's a condition. So let's see, signal. It says unable to. So maybe with Super Cruise, while towing, you can't do it. So I'll do it the old manual way. How about that?
Now this is an interesting piece of kit, Super Cruise, because there's 5 levels of autonomy. Level 1 is essentially cruise control. Level 5 is there's no steering wheel. So currently we're on level 2, and Super Cruise is level 2. So it's hands off, feet off, but it still is very much eyes on, meaning that you're still responsible for whatever happens to the vehicle. You're still responsible for paying attention. The next level is level 3. Only a couple manufacturers have actually reached level 3.
Mercedes?
In very limited situations, Mercedes has reached level 3.
It's geofence too.
Yep, that's right. We're at speeds under 45 and traffic in LA, essentially. You can take hands off, feet off, and eyes off, and the car will take responsibility for what happens to it.
Now, Tesla is promising it, but there's a lot of debate whether they actually have level 3, because currently supervised, right, I'm using air quotes here, full self-driving is just level 2, which means you are still the one monitoring the situation. And the thing about, look, here's the thing, level 2 is just really hard for us humans because we're good at driving and we're good at not driving. In other words, we're good at having the hands on the wheel and paying attention, but we're not good at just watching the machine drive. We'd be good at texting or watching videos, but we can't do that. So this is a really awkward place to be in the development of autonomy. And until we actually get to level 3 or 4 or 5, where you can actually have the vehicle steer under any conditions, any time of day, we're kind of in this no man's land. And I often feel, and I've done this before when we had the Hummer EV, that at this point I'd rather drive than have the vehicle drive and me just sit here and basically have it, like, you know, nanny me or yell at me every time it doesn't like a thing that's happening out there and having me take control. For right now, though, the thing is doing pretty well.
Yeah, there's no nannying going on here. Now, it is tracking your eyes, right? It uses sensors, and it makes sure that you're not, for example, falling asleep. But I think that this is a really good solution for a lot of the Midwest, right? I mean, we're here in eastern Colorado, heading into Nebraska. There's just not a lot to hit here. And as long as you are still engaged, just in case of an emergency, it's a pretty cool piece of technology.
So like right now what's happened is the car in front of me is doing 71 miles an hour, and so of course the truck has slowed down to 70 miles an hour, and if I want to with regular Super Cruise, the truck would actually change.
I think there's also settings here.
You think there's a setting that or maybe, yeah.
Let's see, vehicle, Super Cruise lane change, automatic.
Okay,
let's try turn signal activated.
All right, let's try it now.
Nope.
Unable
to. So it must not work when towing.
When towing, yeah. I think
kind of makes sense.
I think they disable that feature, yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the whole purpose of Super Cruise is not so you can take a nap. The whole purpose of Super Cruise is you arrive at your destination and feel a lot more rested because your brain isn't constantly working. So,
but it doesn't work that way.
It does work that way.
No, I disagree. It doesn't work that way. It's actually harder for me to supervise a truck than it is for me to drive. I find driving much more engaging and much more interesting, and my brain is actually working.
In Nebraska?
Even in Nebraska. It's when I'm sitting here just kind of like my mind starts to wander and I get bored, whereas when I'm driving, I'm always engaged with the car, or in this case, truck.
Well, let us know if you guys would rather just be sitting here monitoring, if you'd rather be driving. It's an interesting debate. I think I agree with you. I love driving. But in Nebraska, I think I'd like just sitting back and watching the road go by.
Are you saying that in Colorado it's okay to drive, but in Nebraska it's better to have Super Cruise?
Yeah, I think.
Is that what you're saying?
Western Colorado through I-70, when you've got those beautiful turns and those sweeps and those gullies, versus Kansas or Nebraska where it's mostly just flat. I think I'm taking a break is what I'm doing.
You know what you can do? You can do this. You can keep your hands on the steering wheel, because it's really weird to be sitting here with my hands on my lap, right? Especially when I'm towing, like ready to jump and take the steering wheel. You can actually keep your hands on the wheel and it still does it for you.
There you go.
And you could pretend to be like steering, but in fact, the truck is steering.
Perfect middle ground right there.
All right, so we've got a lot more road trip ahead. The next thing we're going to have to do is figure out what kind of fuel economy we're getting while towing, Tommy. So right now we've got a half a tank, but we're using fuel pretty quickly. I think I said that this thing gets 16 mpg. What do you think it's going to get towing?
11.8.
I think it'll be below 10.
All right, well, let's find out.
And no matter which car or truck you have, if you plan on keeping it for a longer period of time, you should check out GrangerWarranty.com. Use the link in the description below. Granger Warranty is one of the best sellers of factory-backed extended warranties across the country, and you could save some money while doing it, about $1,000 on average. And you don't have to buy it immediately when you buy a brand new vehicle. You could wait a little bit and then get that warranty. And when your truck needs service, you can be sure that they're using certified components, OEM quality stuff, and the work is done at a certified facility or a dealership anywhere across the country.
Read them a weep, Tommy. You said it was going to be 12. The truck says 10.2.
Oof.
But you know, just what the truck says and what we're really getting is a different story. So we always use the pump and then do the calculations manually, because sometimes these numbers can be deceiving.
You are going to notice too, we only drove 174 miles on this tank with 69 miles left to go before empty. And that's the problem with these 24-gallon tanks. They're just too small. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Fill it up. I was actually wrong about Nebraska. The drive's been pretty pretty.
Yeah.
It's been very nice.
Look at this. Look at this. They have E15, which is 15%, 20%, 30%, and 51% ethanol. You think they grow corn in Nebraska, Tommy?
I think they might.
I have had experience with using high ethanol gasoline, and it has not been good.
Well, for a while there, flex fuel was all the craze. But the problem with flex fuel is you don't go as far per gallon, at least compared to standard dyno juice. So we found that you were filling up a lot more often. So even though there is a cost savings, it doesn't necessarily play out.
There's also a range loss. So
big one.
You pay less, but you go less far.
All right, let's see what the number is.
We're at almost $50, 16 gallons. So I think I'm going to hear a click at any moment, Tommy.
There it is.
I knew that.
All right, let me see what the trip was. It won't show it to me without starting the engine. 174.8.
All right, let's wait 30 seconds. I kind of feel like we're boosters for CU. We're both wearing
I know.
And we did not plan this. It just happened. We're both wearing CU Buffalo gear.
All right, here we go.
Not that the team is doing all that well this year, Tommy.
No, not doing too hot.
No, not doing too hot.
All right, so here's our final number.
Okay.
So 17.3 gallons, so 174.8 is how far we drove, divided by 17.
Truck said 10.2.
330. Yeah,
Ooh,
10.
10. And you said?
11.8, that's my guess.
And I said under 10. So are we playing Prices Right?
Yeah, I'll give you the win on that one for sure.
All right. I wasn't sure if we were playing Prices Right rules if you're over or... But basically about 10 miles per gallon.
Which would be fine if it had a 36-gallon tank, but at 24, you're going to be stopping a lot.
Tommy, I'll say it. I was wrong. We've been driving now for almost 8 hours, and I have to say, most of that time, I've been using Super Cruise, and so were you. So maybe this is a technology that is certainly something that makes driving a little bit less stressful and a little bit more pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, what I find is that it's very confidence inspiring. So a lot of the other level 2 systems, even ones that are hands-on, sometimes wander through the lanes. They try to take exit ramps. Super Cruise is rock steady in the center of the lane always. It does have its couple of foibles though. When you go to change lanes, it doesn't do automatic like we said with the trailer.
No, watch. This will turn red now.
Well, it'll turn blue,
and then it speeds up way too fast. Like it just gives you full power immediately, even though I don't want full power. I wouldn't do that if I were driving normally.
Well, my complaints are actually the opposite. So when I change lanes, sometimes it goes red and vibrates a seat, which really alarms me because it thinks I'm changing lanes into someone that's already in the lane. My other complaint is that when I change lanes, it doesn't start accelerating into the passing lane until you're fully in the lane and situated. And the problem with that is, let's say there's a truck I'm trying to pass, but there's traffic coming up from behind. The really refined adaptive cruise systems will kind of accelerate as you're passing. This one, you have to make the pass and then it will go, and that's a little disconcerting sometimes.
Yeah, and I've been trying to use the, not the accelerator there, but the little switch here to accelerate, because there was a car that was trying to get up my you-know-what, and it's very difficult to control just how fast you want to accelerate. And of course, the second I touch the accelerator, it will disengage. So I'm complaining, but for the most part, it's been
Yeah, it's been really good.
less stressful, more enjoyable drive, letting the truck drive as opposed to having me drive. So I was wrong, Tommy.
I mean, what I think is interesting, we take a lot of road trips, and Super Cruise kind of turned an 8-hour trip into like a 5-hour trip.
Yeah,
in
that's a
terms
good way
of
of putting it.
fatigue. Yeah, so it doesn't quite half it, but it does really, really, really help. All right, well, we'll catch up with you at the gas station. So this is the madman that agreed to help me out. What's going on, dude?
Not much. I mean, how can we not help someone out who bought what is possibly the best Land Rover to buy?
So Joe runs Lost Cause Ranch, and he does some insane things. How many Land Rovers do you have right now?
20-ish. We don't count them anymore.
What's 21 on the property,
Yeah, that's
right?
no kidding.
And this is how cool Joe is. So he decided that, like, yeah, well, he'd meet me all the way in Omaha, which is like 5 hours from where you're at.
Why not?
So I can't thank you enough for doing this.
Oh, this will be fun. This will
is
be
huge.
fun.
So here's the thing. So we bought this, $3.5 grand. Thought it was a hell of a deal because it's got paint on it. And then it lasted like 35 minutes before the temperature's going crazy.
They do that.
And then I was shooting with my videographer from Mary. I was trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, Mary, do you mind just filming while I rev it really quick? And I revved it, and she's like, wow, you made a new cloud. And I'm like, oh, oh no. So Joe's agreed to fix it for me. Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, that just sounds like typical Rover V8 stuff.
And if there's nothing cooler than this, Dad, can you get a shot of this? Joe, in classic style, has a Range Rover supercharged, right?
Supercharged V8,
Is
yeah.
that your tow vehicle?
Yeah, that's the tow rig.
Oh, dude.
It doesn't get any better than that.
That's nuts. Well, I can't thank you enough. Lost Cause Ranch. And then the goal is, if you can get it fixed within the next decade, which there's no rush, I'll fly on out and we'll drive it home.
Well, yeah, we would love to have you in Iowa.
Cool. Awesome, dude. Thank you.
Awesome.